So talk to me about, you also put money into stocks and began trading.
Yeah.
And then you, I guess, flew people out and, put cars and houses under their names and stuff. Like, you was pretty, pretty swift as far as, where you put your money sort of thing.
Yeah, I was in a nice house in, oh man, the most beautiful place I ever lived in my life. Sinvacus neighborhood in Tucson, Arizona, gated, guarded community. Moved up there after someone representing himself as the Bulls. They tricked my top sales guy into a nightclub, knocked his teeth out. We learned it was people who were representing themselves as Sammy the Bull's crew. And we had to take security precautions because this guy was right under me. My thing was, if someone right under me got hit, I'm next.
Right.
So I moved into this gated, guarded community, Sinvacus. Joe Bonanno is up there.
And this is Joe Bonanno, the
Joe
boss
Bonanno
of the Bonanno
Senior.
family.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah.
Miles down the mountain range is Paul McCartney.
Okay.
Yeah, near Mount Lemon, down that way.
These are your neighbours, like.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not going to say he's my neighbours. McCartney was miles down the road.
Right, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, the mountain range. Bonanno was in the neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah, our houses were so exclusive on this neighborhood, you really couldn't see your neighbors properly because you had all this property around.
Right.
There's land around.
Yeah.
On this beautiful mountain, and the monsoon rain would come, and the thunder and lightning, and the lightning would bounce down the mountain, bounce off the house, and a little waterfall would form at the side of the house.
Great scenery, like.
And these javelinas would come, and I'd go to the mailbox, and there'd be deer, and these lizards called Gila monsters, the size of dogs, would be on the road with all these dappled colours, red and pink and orange, and the cars would stop for them. Oh, honestly, and I was married to a woman who was doing lesbian internet porn when I met her. She was a bright woman, university, degree, but she was wild. I was attracting people as wild as me.
Yeah.
That was the peak of the mayhem.
Yeah.
I was living large, but also sowing the seeds of my downfall at the same time.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Did you have any interactions at all with Joe Bonanno in particular? Like.
No, I had no interaction with the Bonanno crime family whatsoever.
Crazy.
My mafia interaction was with the new Mexican Mafia, who were the most powerful criminal organization in Arizona.
Are they known as La M.A.?
La M.A.
La M.A., yeah.
Yeah. I was introduced to them through Wildman,
Yeah.
who introduced me to G-Dog. So we've got an apartment party going in that Rancho Murrieta complex.
Right.
I'm supplying the pills. G-Dog comes in, tall, ruggedly handsome Mexican-American guy.
Right.
In America, they're called Chicanos as opposed to the Mexican nationals.
Right.
So he's a Chicano. He comes in providing the weed and the coke. So I get talking to him. Everyone's just chilling out, playing music, having a good time.
Yeah.
Cop walks in, says he could smell weed from outside, nobody move. G-Dog just pulls out a gun. The only one who's not leaving is you, motherfucker. Everybody run. I've never seen anything of this level before. This is Pulp Fiction, to me. I'm
Yeah.
like, whoa. We all just run off into the night, absolutely crapping ourselves. I've got an apartment nearby. Seth is living there, actually, my friend who's dead. And another guy called Fish, who was dealing pills for me. So we go in there. All hell is breaking loose. Everyone's running to the night. There's police sirens, helicopter, all this shit. And we're like, what should we do? Should we flush our pills? And we're like, oh, shit, we're debating. Next thing, there's a knock on the French window. Bam, 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 bam. We think it's the cops. It's G-Dog. What we're going to do, let him in. G-Dog comes in. G-Dog schools us right away. Don't open the door if anyone knocks. Turn the lights off. Turn the TV off. They can't get a warrant that fast. They don't know where I am. If they come, just fucking nobody make a sound.
Right.
So we've not flushed our shit. We're still crapping ourselves. They knocked. We didn't answer. They knocked next door and they went on the way. I mean, the whole place was getting searched for a while, the whole complex, but
Right.
they couldn't just bust in people's doors that fast. He knew that legally. So at the end of the night, I say to G-Dog, you're a bit hot in this area. Why don't you come to a house I've got in Phoenix? I take him over there. We're shooting pool. And in the end, he says to me, Shaun, because you and your mates had my back, me and my brothers have got your back. I have no idea what this means. So if you've watched my Locked Up Abroad episode, this is where I go over to the Chicano house.
Definitely.
All the lowrider cars are on the road. I go in, his brother answers the door, bald hair, looking up at me, like hard face, like, you know, who the F is this guy? Here's my English accent. He started buzzing a bit. He's like, damn, you talk funny. I guess you are from England, because they think, right, you might be a cop, but there's no way some, you know, from England.
Oh, mate, yeah.
In the end, he's like, come in and meet my homies. I go into the living room. All these massive Chicano gang members.
Yeah.
Wife beaters on, little, you know, little vests.
Tatted up, I imagine.
Tatted up,
Yeah.
like these shorts just beyond the knees, all these chains and shit, all the prison tats.
Yeah.
Looking at me like they want to eat me. Slabs of crystal meth, cocaine, weighing scales, all kinds of weapons. I'm like, whoa.
Insane.
Biggest one swings a spoonful of coke into my face. Snort this. I look at G-Dog, he's like, yeah, snort it. Snort it. And then
they were trying to see if you're cool, I guess, at that point.
Yeah. And he was a hitman, actually. I learned later when they all got arrested. He was on a killing spree at that point in time.
Crazy.
But the brother takes me into a back room, and he's like, yeah, I heard you got, you know, pills. We've not done the pills. We wanted to test your shit out and all this shit. And so they started getting pills from me, and I started getting a few things from them, including hydroponic weed, because they were growing it like in the closet.
Right.
And my girlfriend was a weed head, and she loved her weed the most.
Yeah.
So I built this relationship with La M, but I didn't know who they were. I only found out who they were a couple of years later.
Yeah.
I took G-Dog back to his brother's house. Whole neighborhood is blacked out. They've got light ones in the roads guiding the traffic. We roll up to the house, and a federal SWAT team has got them all with the handcuffs behind the back, bringing them out.
Crazy.
Headline news that night, all the mugshots, showed them all the real names. Says these are the New Mexican Mafia in Arizona, most powerful criminal organization, most dangerous. Tried to assassinate the head of the Department of Corrections, the head of the prison system. Trying to assassinate judges, police, witnesses, everything. And I was like, holy shit, you know. Every time I went over to the house, I was always in and out, because I always felt there was a lethal atmosphere.
Yeah.
But I didn't know the level of what I'd been dealing with.
Definitely.
So people, you know, who when you're a young person, you think it's a buzz to be hanging out with these people, but you're actually putting your head in a lion's mouth.
100%. It's a big risk, like, yeah.
A little bit earlier, and I would have been in that federal SWAT team, mate.
100%.
Those guys, yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Big up G-Dog, I guess. Like,
G-Dog?
Yeah, big him up.
G-Dog, I can't say too much about him because of certain situations. I did hear from him a couple of years ago.
Definitely.
He approved the stories that I put in my book Party Time, but he was saying, you know, don't go beyond those stories, because there would be repercussions for him.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. So just something about myself. I have a very unhealthy obsession with the Italian Cosa Nostra, the mafia thing. I mean, I grew up on a lot of Italian movies and TV shows, Sopranos, you know, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Sammy The Bull. Sammy Gravano, I believe his name is. He just a bit of a backstory. He is as a very notable, notorious figure as far as the Italian American Mafia.
Yeah.
Who's still alive today, you know. So obviously his association is with John Gotti. He was the underboss. You know, he started off in the Colombos, and you know, he got to the Gambinos and so on and so forth. So basically, he had a situation with John Gotti where he got arrested, and you know, obviously we know the story. So when he's released, he goes over to Arizona, and I guess one of his enterprises that he began with would be an ecstasy ring, because it's popping. Like, you lot have got it through the roof at this point, isn't it? So obviously he wants in, I would imagine. And I guess he was doing things such as you gave the story earlier. I mean, your second in command, I believe, he took him somewhere, so he got lured to a bar and he had his teeth knocked out or something.
Skinner, yeah, my top ecstasy salesperson.
Yeah, and I also heard you mention how he would also take people to the desert and basically give them one to the back of the head and sort of leave them out there, sort of thing.
All right, let me clarify a lot of things then on this, because I've learned a lot since I got out of prison, and in recent years I've just done a documentary that's about Sammy the Bull's ecstasy ring versus mine. It was released last year on Nat Geo. It's called How E Busted the Bull. It's a Narco Wars episode.
Right.
So I'll go back to, we start to see these guys pop up. Oh, first off, I want to shout out to Sammy the Bull and his son.
For sure.
I know Sammy the Bull's son, met him in prison, kept in contact with him. Shout out to you for not going back to prison, man. You're doing great. Shout out to Sammy the Bull. Huge fan of your channel.
You know what? His channel is something, to say the least.
Him and Michael Francis.
Amazing, yeah.
Michael Francis, absolute gentleman. They're my go-to mafia channels out of America. And I support Sammy the Bull on his Patreon as well.
I love the stories, by the way, as well.
He's a master. Sammy the Bull is a master storyteller.
My obsession, as I said, it's crazy.
So I just want to show my respect to those guys for what they're doing.
For sure.
And there's no beefs between any of us. I've been on Francis's channel, and he's an absolute gentleman as well.
Big up Michael.
Yeah, big up Michael. Yeah. So just to go over the story then. I've got the Arizona rave scene, ecstasy supply and lockdown. All of a sudden, these jock characters show up at the raves and the clubs. Big steroid heads, not dressed like us raver people. They're stepping on my toes. I'm wondering who the F they are. Mentioned that I got this wife that's, she was doing lesbian internet porn when I met her. One of her girlfriends that she got a bisexual relationship with starts dating one of these jock steroid head ecstasy dealers. Yeah. She says, Shaun, they want to meet you. They've got something to propose. I'm curious. Set it up. Because when you got all the locals locked down, you got a lot of information flow coming to you, but I couldn't figure out who these guys were. And he also had a sense of security in that I've got the new Mexican Mafia, I've got my back. I've got my own arm to the teeth security team. So I get one of the Rossetti brothers, and he's strapped, and my wife, and we go to this bar in Tucson called Heart 5. I say to Rossetti, sneak in behind us. If they try and kidnap me, just open up on the motherfuckers. I don't mean wipe out everyone in the bar. I mean just like start blasting off and get me out of there.
Yeah.
Me and my wife are high on GHB and crystal meth and God knows what. Like I said, I'm just a nerdy business graduate. I'm about to negotiate something now. I need to get the false bravado up by getting high on drugs, because I had social anxiety when I was a young person.
Yeah.
And one of the things that led me to taking drugs, I almost got beat to death by some drunks. And when I was a party animal, it was all drug fueled. I'm not a tough guy. I'm the opposite of Wham, and Wham and open these doors into this world. So I've got this false bravado now from crystal meth and GHB. So a guy comes out called the Spaniard, and he's like, English Shaun, we've heard a lot about you. We're going to take you into this back room over here and speak to you, blah, 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 like the VIP room, whatever it is. We go through just me, and he's got this big sidekick, like 6.5 foot steroid head blonde guy, like Dolph Lundgren, like muscles bigger than my head.
Yeah.
The muscle head yells at the whole room, tells everybody to get the fuck out, and tells whoever's on the sofa, get the fuck off the sofa, so we can all sit down. I mean, I gotta do something crazy, man. These guys are looking at me, like I'm some kind of big name from, So I remember my grandfather, Fred, he always used to squeeze my knee above, like about here, and make me jump. So as I'm sitting down on the sofa with these guys, I fucking just grab both the knees and squeeze them. So anyway, we sit down and I'm talking to them, and they're like, English Shaun, you're a big name for the rave scene. We're moving a lot of product. Why don't you work with us? Hey, I've been doing this, for a number of years here now with the locals. I'm getting my pills from Holland. We've got a good reputation. You're getting these coloured pills. And the big guy jumps up and he's like, who the fuck are you disrespecting our pills?
Crazy.
And I'm like, what's his problem? And the other guy's he's a bit of a hothead, Shaun. And it was they were playing the good and bad routine on me. I did like the Spaniard, and he got the other guy to calm down. And before he calmed down, he said, who the F are you disrespecting our pills? Don't you know who we're working for?
Yeah. Sammy
The Bull.
Right.
One call to him and we can have you taken out to the desert. So a lot of people are putting Sammy The Bull's name out there at this point in time. I'm going to get to his involvement, because I now know what Sammy The Bull's involvement was, and it wasn't what people were portraying, I believe in my heart.
Right.
So we leave Heart 5. My wife is unconscious on the sofa. She's passed out on GHB. I'm changing the name for legal reasons.
For sure.
Rossetti picks her up. We're carrying her back to the car. And he's like, what happened? They're telling me they work for Sammy The Bull Gravano. He's like, that's Italian mafia shit. This is getting way too heavy, man. I'm like, well, if they're for real, blah, blah, blah. And, I'm wondering how long the peace will last. Because the conclusion of the conversation was, I told them there's enough money to be made from ecstasy in Arizona without us having beefs.
Sure, for sure.
The
Yeah.
problem is you guys are attracting too much heat. Before you guys came along, there weren't all these undercover cops driving past the raves, filming everybody's license plates. You know, you guys are going round, your runners are going round, bragging you're the biggest ecstasy barons in the
And
world.
to throw a name like Sammy the Bull, I mean, he already has a background that's, you know, police
Yeah.
are gonna, you know what I mean? So it's like, why
Yeah.
throw that name out there as well? It's like, yeah,
So they lit the place up ridiculous
sure.
and brought the heat.
Yeah,
And that was the beginning and the end for both of our enterprises.
right.
Yeah, so the New Mexican Mafia got took down first, I think. And then it was the Gravano enterprise. And then it was my enterprise.
Right, so they got indicted first before you. I'm talking about the Sammy the Bull's faction.
And I was thinking, thank you, police. You've just eliminated my competition. Yeah. But that was naivety because all those resources, and it was a multi-agency investigation
Right.
that were on him, were then put on me, like the feds.
Yeah.
We're talking customs, the DEA, the state police, and multiple agencies.
Right.